We begin tonight learning new details about a deadly hot air balloon crash in Eloy. An autopsy report now shows the pilot had a drug called ketamine in his system at the time of the crash. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariba Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. The pilot was among 4 people killed in the crash back in January. 12 News journalist Jonathan McCall spent the day combing through that report from the Pinal County Medical Examiner's office and learned about some of the impacts of ketamine. Jonathan?
Yeah, Mark, ketamine can cause a number of effects, including distortion and feeling detached from your body. Experts say it was up to the pilot's employer to drug test him to make sure he was okay. Tonight, questions now being raised about if he was in fact cleared to fly. Tonight, an autopsy report revealing the pilot at the helm of a deadly balloon crash in Eloy had elevated levels of the drug ketamine in his system. According to the report, 37-year-old Cornelius Vanderwalt did not have a ketamine prescription. The report goes on to say that the drug was also not given to him at the time of the crash. Forensic examiner Dr. Rebecca Shue says the drug can't be ruled out as a possible factor.
If he was acting kooky and it sounds like ketamine, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, there's a good chance that it was involved.
The DEA lists ketamine as an anesthetic that can distort perceptions of sights and sounds and make users not in control. Now questions are being raised if Vanderwalt should have launched in the first place. The crash happened back on January 14th of this year. 13 people, including 8 skydivers, were on board at the time. Moments after the skydivers jumped, the balloon started falling from the sky. According to the Federal Aviation Administration, the balloon had a deflated envelope. Vanderwalt was among 4 people killed. According to that autopsy report, he died from blunt force trauma. The lone survivor of the crash, 24-year-old Valerie Stutterheim of Scottsdale, suffered serious injuries and is continuing to recover. In a GoFundMe update posted on Easter, her dad said, quote, "It will take a lot of time and a lot of work on Valerie's part to build her strength back up, but it is so good to see these improvements." Dr. Shue says those elevated levels of ketamine could have also been the result of post-mortem as well. Tonight, 12 News reached out to Dropline, the company operating the balloon, for comment on these newest developments. So far, we have yet to hear back. Tonight, the National Transportation Safety Board continuing to piece this all together, trying to figure out whether or not those drugs may have played a factor in this crash. We're told it could take more than a year for the agency to release its final report. Jonathan McCall, 12 News.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Phoenix police have identified the officer who was shot while trying to stop an armed robbery over the weekend. Our crews were there when Officer Harold Boswell was released from the hospital on Monday. We're told that he is at home resting and recovering. Phoenix police have arrested 3 people they say were involved in the shooting. We expect to learn more about the investigation tomorrow, so stay with 12 News for more updates.
A jury has convicted a man of sexually assaulting a student on the ASU campus back in 2021. 33-year-old Eric Bell now faces more than 25 years in prison when he's sentenced on May 9th. The student reported being grabbed from behind while walking to work. Bell then forced her to the ground, assaulted her, and made her count to 50 while he ran from the scene. His DNA was later found on the victim, and a man resembling Bell was caught on surveillance cameras.
We are keeping you safe tonight with a warning from law enforcement about a phone scam. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says that scammers are pretending to be deputies calling about a fine that needs to be paid. On Tuesday alone, officials tell us that about 45 people reported receiving that call. Now, deputies say that they will never call and ask you for payment over the phone for any reason. If you receive a call like this, they say that you should hang up and call local law enforcement's non-emergency number to report it. Some other red flags to look for include the caller asking for payment in the form of gift cards or cryptocurrency.
I'm starting to think about all of the people who are going to be in town or who are already here for the Final Four and how fabulous it was out there today, Lindsay, but they're in for a change.
They are, and it's the roller coaster ride of temps that's going to continue. We've been on this trend for a while now. Tomorrow's going to be the warmest day of the year so far, reaching 89 degrees. We start off in the morning at 59 with our sunrise time at 6:11. Bright and sunny all day, but be ready for 30-mile-per-hour gusts here in the valley. Then we have wind advisories for Mojave County and southeastern Arizona from 1 p.m. tomorrow until 5 a.m. Friday. evening. Gusts in those areas up to 55 miles per hour. And then where it's going to be the windiest over the next couple of days is up along I-40, northern Arizona, under a high wind watch from Thursday evening through Friday evening. Gusts in those locations up to 65 miles per hour. So that's where we'll see the highest winds. You can see what our next storm system is going to do to our temperatures. So yes, we heat things up tomorrow and then the bottom drops out. Friday we're at 70, Saturday at 68, and then it's a slow rebound back to the 80s by the middle of next week. Coming up in your full forecast, we will time out the rain and the snow in just a few minutes. Mark?
Okay, Linz, thanks. Tonight, we're learning more about a shooting involving a Glendale police officer. The tense moments played out this afternoon in a neighborhood near 67th Avenue and Cactus after several people reported seeing a man acting erratically with a gun. 12 News journalist Gabriela Becerra is live at the scene with the latest. Gabby?
Well, Mark, that suspect, a 24-year-old man, is expected to be okay tonight after a police officer shot him. No officers were injured in the shooting.
My first thought was just to get them in the middle of the house where we're not by any walls.
A mother, Cassandra Gonzalez, rushed her 3 kids to safety after Citizen, a safety networking app, alerted her to a man with a gun walking around her neighborhood.
I'm like, oh, that's close.
Moments later, she heard gunshots.
It literally sounded like it was in my backyard.
This all happened around 2 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. Glendale police say several people called 911 to report a man with a gun acting strange in a neighborhood near 67th Avenue and Cactus Road.
Some of those calls included him walking around, behaving erratic, in the vehicle, driving fast.
As police were entering the neighborhood, they say the man in a Toyota was driving toward officers in the opposite direction. One officer reportedly saw the man point a weapon at them, so he shot him.
We don't have that exact number yet, but we do know that he did fire or discharge his weapon multiple times.
Sky 12 video showing what appears to be several bullet holes in the Toyota's windshield. That man was taken to the hospital. Police say they found a weapon but would not specify what kind or if he used it. And Surprise Police Department is taking over the investigation tonight. They have not yet said if they plan to recommend charges against the suspect. Reporting live in Glendale, Gabriela Becerra, 12 News.
All right, Gabby, thank you. Tonight, we're continuing our coverage of the investigation into the death of 16-year-old Preston Lord. The I-Team sat down one-on-one with Queen Creek Police Chief Randy Bryce for the first time since his department's report was released today, giving more insight into their investigation. We've also learned that the police have submitted charges against 2 additional people in the case tied to the party where the beating took place. 12 News journalist Bianca Bono has the latest.
We did submit charges on the homeowners.
Queen Creek Police Chief Randy Bryce confirming his department has submitted charges against the owners of the home where an October Halloween party was held. The party 16-year-old Preston Lord and his alleged killers attended shortly before the attack. It's the first time we're hearing from the chief since the release of his department's 1,200-page police report, detailing their investigation into Lord's death. Tips revealed in the report alleging one of the 7 suspects, Talon Renner, was pulled out of school the day after Lord died from his injuries and taken out of the valley by his parents so his hands could heal.
Is that hindering your investigation, and is that against the law?
You have to remember, we have to look at, was there some criminal aspect to it? So we're investigating. If we find something that's criminal, we will send that information to the county attorney for charges.
The chief not commenting on the role each of the 7 suspects allegedly played in the group-style assault, but noting the case continued to develop after they recommended charges to the county attorney's office back in December. The report showing police initially considered second-degree murder charges for some of the suspects and aggravated assault for others. But by the time charges were formally announced, they had been upgraded to first-degree murder for all 7 suspects.
As we refined the case and the details kept on coming in, we worked with the county attorney to refine what we would actually be charging. That's part of the review process.
I just wanted to ask how your department is doing mentally after living this for the past several months.
I appreciate that. I think one of the things that are lost, especially when we had that frenzy of why isn't this done, and all the criticism that came along with that, is not only the officers and the support staff and all the people that are in conjunction with this, you'd be surprised how much this has touched the entire department.
It seemed like it was all consuming from the moment that you guys arrived on scene that night.
It was, and this is where I've said it, and I want to say it again, is that I am so proud of my staff. I get a little choked up when I think about the time and energy that they sacrificed to get this job done.
And the chief telling us, in addition to social media messages, surveillance footage, and witness statements, they also collected DNA evidence. You can watch an extended version of our interview right now on 12news.com. Bianca Bono, 12 News.